FTL, one of the best roguelikes ever made, combining fantastic pixel art, an absolutely stellar soundtrack, and incredibly challenging ship-to-ship combat. It's a game that gives everyone, from someone on their maiden voyage into the black to the most hardened veteran captain, something to enjoy. It's a game I've put a lot of time into, but there are still some achievements left in the galaxy that I haven't earned yet. This series will follow my attempt to claim those remaining accolades and have some fun while doing it. So, report to the bridge and join me as I continue my quest to finally finish FTL, Faster Than Light. Have you ever played through an entire video game only to realise you had missed some vital piece of information? Struggled on needlessly while the solution was right under your nose? Hi, I'm Ubunuk Frakes, and tonight on Slower Than Light, I'd like to tell you a story. A story of confusion, stubbornness, and the human condition. A story that will delight and confound, leaving you with only one question. What did that have to do with FTL? Our story begins in the forgotten age of 2009. I was getting ready to go on a trip to the lakes with my family. As I was ensuring I had brought the essentials along, disaster struck. I had packed my trusty DS, but I hadn't picked up any games. The idea of trying to last an entire week in the countryside with only picture chat as entertainment crossed my mind. I shuddered. It wasn't possible, I'd be a gibbering wreck by Tuesday. But, luckily, fate had other plans for me. Fate and the fuel tank of a 2003 Ford Focus. Not long after setting off, we stopped at
generic English supermarket
to get some petrol. I stopped trying to create a rudimentary form of Pokemon with travel Scrabble and checked my wallet. I had brought along about £30 for the week, with the intention of buying postcards for elderly relatives and giving myself type 2 diabetes with Kendall mint cake. Remembering that money could be exchanged for goods and services, I leapt into action. Muttering something incomprehensible about bathrooms, I exited the car and walked into the store. I made a beeline for the video game section, praying for something with a little more to it than Barbie's horse adventure, but who knew? I was desperate. I made it to the aisle. Maybe my family had already left without me. It didn't matter anymore. Better to be McAllistered than to continue this holiday without sweet, sweet virtual reality. An advert was playing on the screen above the shelves for a brand new game from a series I had never actually played. Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of the Starry Skies. It looked like Final Fantasy. It looked like Golden Sun. At one point in the looping trailer they equipped an item and it actually appeared on that character. I was sold. Snatching a copy from the stand, I did that kind of half run you do in school when you don't want to get shouted at, but you're late, straight to the tills. Diving back into the car, flimsy plastic bag in hand, I felt relief wash over me. A game. Was it good? Was it long? Was I going to need to piece together 8 games worth of story from context? I was going to find out. A few hours later, sitting in a small green park on the shore of a lake, I decided I'd had enough of nature and started the game up. It was good. The RPG aspects were solid. I liked that every piece of equipment had a full 3D model, and I liked the fact that every single enemy was some kind of pun. I spent that week playing Dragon Quest in any downtime we had, and I've been a fan of the series ever since. What has this got to do with FTL? Well, the achievement I'm tackling this episode is I don't need no stinking upgrades, and I haven't seen the treasure of the Sierra Madre, so this is what we're talking about. The achievement involves getting to the 5th sector of the game without ever upgrading your ship. There's not too much to talk about mechanics wise. Pick a ship with good base stats and go. I used Mantis B. It starts with 2 shields, good drones and a teleporter. Pick the shortest route between the start and end of each sector and avoid combat where you can.
Our path was set by the travel agency.
That's for schoolgirls. Now here's a route with some chest hair.
It's not hard. The only reason I didn't have it prior to the achievements being added was it never occurred to me to ignore the main mechanic of the game. And now, I must reveal the link between that story and this achievement. You see, I enjoyed my time with Dragon Quest because it felt like the game was truly living up to its name. Challenge so difficult, it was only surmountable by a giant immortal lizard with magical powers. I struggled and struggled with the game, barely beating bosses and having to learn their mechanics inside and out to even stand a chance of taking them down. And after every one, I waited for the game to reward me with more party members. But they never came. I mentioned Final Fantasy and Golden Sun earlier because those were my primary experiences with JRPGs at the time. In those games, your party of heroes grows with the story, new friends and allies joining you as you complete their chapters of the main game. So I assumed Dragon Quest would be the same. And it is, actually. Except for 9. Dragon Quest IX does RPG parties a little different. In the first town you arrive at properly, you can go to the inn and use a function to request allies. This is tied in with the multiplayer, allowing other players to join your game and help out. Funnily enough, it is also entirely vital to the single player, something that really isn't made clear. Dragon Quest IX has no pre-made characters who join you. All the minor NPCs are 2D sprites that rotate, and all the important NPCs have 3D models. I assumed that whenever I met a 3D character, there was a chance they'd be leaving town with me in about an hour or so. No. When you're in the first town, you're meant to design your own characters. All of them, without prompting. You can create an entire goon squad of little Dragon Ball Z looking fellas and then go stomp all over the countryside, kicking the shit out of cruel cumbers and slimes as you go. And that huge difficulty curve I bashed my head against over and over? Yeah, it doesn't exist when you have the gang with you. I had made things much harder for myself, but I truly think I enjoyed it more because of it. My subsequent playthroughs have never managed to recapture that struggle, or that satisfaction you get from overcoming a challenge. So I won't be showing this FTL run. You want to see the achievement? Here it is. Too fast? There. It took me 30 minutes and every single fight involved turning on my defense drone, teleporting the boys over, and then back when the health got a little low. Rinse and repeat. Talking about this achievement wouldn't be worth it because I didn't earn it last week. I earned it 12 years ago on that family holiday to the lakes, where I didn't speak to an NPC and accidentally gave myself one of the most difficult challenges in gaming I've ever experienced. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Next time, we'll be getting back into FTL proper as I attempt to complete
Boarding objective successful.
It is the second rarest achievement in the game, so I'm hoping for some spicy runs. Thanks for sticking to the end. Please consider liking and subscribing. Feel free to leave an angry comment below if you clicked on a video about FTL and then I talked about a JRPG that is even more outdated than that. See you next time.